Elevators have new buttons that take you all the way to the top or bottom. They also travel at twice the speed as before. Stick with me and elevate your knowledge for this upcoming update. Ice sculptures are arriving this month. They are carvable blocks of ice to show off your creative side in 3 dimensions. They will cost 500 wood and 100 metal frags to craft, and are a default blueprint. I'm not sure at the time of recording if this will be a seasonal item like ice high externals, a free item for everyone, or a paid item in the item store like the carvable pumpkins, but I expect it to be the latter. You can carve using only these tools: stone pick, metal pickaxe, salvaged pick or axe, jackhammer, bone knife or combat knife, or a spear of any variety. Any other melee weapons will deplete the health of the sculpture. When holding a valid tool, an orange sphere will appear on the block where you're aiming. You can change the size of your sphere with shift plus scroll wheel. Bigger spheres equal more material taken away. Press shift plus right mouse button to change into smoothing mode. Your sphere will turn pink to show the mode change. This, as expected, is to clean up jagged edges. Your sculptures must be attached to the base. Any unattached chunks will be destroyed. You can also lock edits, as is the same with all other artistic items. I'm no artist, but I look forward to seeing what people are able to create. It's Rust's 11th birthday this month, so there's a special cake item to celebrate. You will also see balloons scattered around as usual. Happy birthday, Rust! Train carts now have built-in storage. I can see this as being a huge benefit if one of your teammates has a tendency to die in the tunnels. No longer will you have to wait for them to come back while you guard their body. There's a car radio module coming out this month, costing 120 metal frags and using a tier 2 workbench to craft. You can place this bad boy up on your dash to make long treks across the map a little more enjoyable. It functions just like a regular radio, but only while the engine is running. Select your preferred channel and press play. As you might have seen from the previous clip, there are new radio stations: 24/7 Airwolf and Fishing Village. You can now sit back, relax, throw out a line, and bop your head to your favorite Radtown tunes. Propane tank stacks have been increased from 5 to 20, meaning you can just despawn them on the ground 4 times as quickly now. Nodes don't have sparkles on them until after the first hit. Don't spin around the rock looking like this guy, because you won't find it. The sparkle will only appear for the second hit and onwards. There's also a larger radius for the sparkle to appear, to avoid it popping up in the same place over and over again. Tin can alarms no longer need cans to craft. The tuna cans in the recipe have been swapped out for 30 metal frags. The point at which you start running out of oxygen while swimming has been lowered until you are completely submerged. This is aimed to help with drowning if the waves are particularly rough. The oxygen counter has also been changed to start at 4 seconds, which is more accurate than before. Another nice change to water is the increased underwater visibility. This should help out with finding dropped items at the bottom of the ocean, among other things. Helicopters can now be scrapped in the junkyard for, well, scrap. You can use the crane to drop them on in, or land directly on top. You'll want to be careful not to get yourself crunched if you choose the latter though. The scrap amounts are 200 for a minicopter, 300 for a scrappy, and 500 for an attack helicopter. Junk piles will despawn if they have been disturbed in any way, so no more walking up to find only car parts sitting in the box. The 16x scope has been reworked and renamed. This variable zoom scope now has 3 levels of magnification: 4x, 8x, and 16x. You can use the new default keybinds of page up and page down to cycle through levels of zoom. The keybinds are all remappable in the controls menu, and the binoculars can also use these key bindings. Wolves have been adjusted and are more prone to being snuck up on from behind. You can now crouch walk up behind them to get within melee striking distance. Radiation pills have received a much needed buff. They now reduce radiation poison by 75 instead of just 25, and have had their hydration penalty lowered from 10 to 5. On top of that, they've also been made more valuable to sell at the bandit camp. I know I'll stop throwing these out quite as often now. Vending machines have a new administration screen with an indicator showing if they are drone accessible. They also have a new stats feature aimed to record the best sold item, best revenue generating items, peak sale hour, total sales, and more. Fridge inventories have been increased from 30 to 48 to be in line with the box sizes. On the topic of increased slots, drop boxes now have 4 input slots for faster depositing. Industrial conveyors can also no longer access these input slots. Legacy shelters now place like high externals. You must stand still and press and hold for 1.5 seconds to deploy. You can also place a new shelter at any point, but it will give you a warning and instantly destroys your current shelter. High external walls and gates have had their crafting recipes adjusted. You can now craft 3 walls at a time for a cost of 4,000 wood or stone, with the stone variant now requiring 1 sheet metal per 3 walls. Stone gates also require 1 sheet metal now, but have had their gear requirement reduced to 3. This results in 3x faster crafting and 500 less stone for every 3 walls, but at the cost of 1 sheet metal for every 3 stone walls. To soften the added sheet metal cost of stone walls, high external wooden walls and gates can now be upgraded to stone with a hammer. No longer will you have to live without walls until you get a tier 2 workbench, or burn down your own wooden walls to upgrade to stone. You'll be able to upgrade for the cost of a wall, or if you have stone walls already crafted, it will consume those in the upgrade instead of your resources. Note, you must have the blueprint learned to take advantage of this upgrading feature. While on the topic of fantastic new features, you can now rotate every electrical component. While this doesn't change anything about how you play the game, it's an extremely nice addition to keep our wires nice and tidy, with more intuitive layouts. Batteries now have an indicator output socket that will send out 1 power when the battery has reached full charge. This is a very nice addition for any multi-battery circuits. I threw together a quick battery charging example over here to showcase how you can charge all 4 of these batteries one at a time, then have this light turn on when it's finished. You can also wire it up to turn off the charger altogether. There are more complex and useful circuits that can take advantage of this new feature too. This battery full indicator output is to the left of the regular sockets on all 3 batteries. Water pumps can now be placed in much more shallow water, allowing you to take advantage of almost the entire length of the new rivers. Tesla coils only require 25 power to reach maximum damage instead of 35. As shown here, there's no difference in time to kill between the 2 power levels now. Turrets in Peacekeeper mode have a new indicator on the top right corner of your screen when you're within 60 meters, which is double the 30 meter range of the turrets. This will only appear if you are unauthed on the turret and completely hostile. Storage adapters now have power pass-through sockets. The power out socket still works for detecting box changes, but will briefly consume an additional rust wattage when in use. RF broadcasters no longer have a minimum pulse duration of 1 second. You can now send 0.25 second pulses with timers, or single tick pulses with other means. You can now rotate your disco panels when snapping them into place. Last but not least, some admin updates. There is now a little creative pop-up when wiring with unlimited I/O wiring. You can now automatically power everything electrical on your server without the need for a power source by using ioentity.infiniteiopower. This could be a great thing to have on some creative servers. There's a new convar for admins to disable cold breath. There's a new cinematic gesture, Talk 6. There are also new commands for admins to sneak around on the server. Just type invis to become completely invisible to players and AI. You can also turn off AI hostility for the entire server, or on a player basis with their steamID. All console commands can be found in the description below. Due to time constraints this month, I had to release this video early, but fear not, any other notable changes can be found in the pinned comment below. If you missed any other monthly updates, be sure to check out my update playlist here.